Hi, my name's Noel. I'm a psychotherapist. Happy 2018. I'm just fulfilling a resolution of mine to stay in touch with folks a bit more and sort of make sure I get these video blogs out to you. Today's is about resolutions. So I'm going to talk about the piece of art over my shoulder, though, first to start off with, because another part of my resolution is to share things that I'm passionate about. And that sort of piece of work on the wall is something I'm passionate about. It's actually two artists that were working on it. I bought it a long time ago. One was a guy, street homeless, alcoholic, and he's the one where you can sort of do the definable face. The other was a guy who had a learning disability who turned up at this project that a colleague of mine used to run for homeless people. And that's this sort of what looked like the lines on top. The interesting thing is they're both self-portraits. Why they're both self-portraits, if you look at the lines over the recognisable face, that's actually one of the sort of early forms of representational drawing. So both artists were doing the same thing, but inhabiting different developmental spaces, if you like. Just want to share that with you, let you in on some of the things that I'm interested and passionate in. Often when I have people who I consult with here, they sort of will talk about that, or maybe not talk about it, sort of avoid it because it looks a bit odd. So New Year's resolutions, my resolution is to share my passions and do these videos with you more. So where does it come from? Well, New Year's resolutions come from way back in a sort of Roman times, thinking about the Roman god Janus, who looked forwards and backwards at the same time. So it's where we get this idea of two-faced from. But actually, the idea was it straddled the old and the new. And resolutions took the form of forgiving grudges from the past and looking forward with clear sort of unpacked, if you like, of one's own personal baggage, goals for the future, which I think is a really good tradition to sort of think about and get involved with. If we carry too much of the past with us going forwards, then particularly resentments about things that might have happened to us that we're not happy with, that can bog us down in the future. So it's about letting that stuff go. How do we keep to our resolutions? And this is a sort of core psychological issue about resolutions. You make resolutions and then feel like a failure because you don't follow through on them. I think it's a core issue about how we change and how we set ourselves and how we help ourselves so that we can become successful in whatever goals that we set ourselves, whether they're about sort of change or personal improvement, looking at our relationships, whatever those goals are. So here's a few sort of very briefly a few tips. One is to sort of write them down, don't just have them in your head. So have some written form of them, and then you can clarify what they are and set out the timescales, etc. And then when you're writing them out, what I suggest you do is if you've got big goals, you break those down into smaller goals. Master the smaller goals first and set yourself a realistic timetable on how you will achieve the bigger goals. So, for example, one of my goals this year is to get back into my mountaineering after having injured myself last year. So I've got a clear plan of action around that with my gym, my trainer, with the organisations that I sort of go on my trips with. So by the summer, hopefully I'll be up in the Alps again, climbing above 2,000 metres. So that's how it works. I won't just suddenly turn up in the summer and expect to be able to climb a mountain not having done any prep work for it. So it's that sort of approach is what I'm talking about. Another way of making sure that you'll stick to your goals is by getting groups of people around you. Simple truth of life, if you want to master something, surround yourself with people who are trying to or have mastered that same thing themselves. It works in just about every area of your life. If you want to become an expert at something, surround yourself with experts, or surround yourself with people who are becoming experts in that thing that you have a desire to, whatever that be, whether it's staying sober from alcohol use, for example. You might go to a group like AA because there's a whole bunch of people there that have manage successfully to stay sober. And if that's your aim, just jump in to the crowd and do it, or whatever it is. If you want to become a good runner, join a running club and go with people who are striving to do the same thing yourself. So it's about strength in numbers. Check-ins as well. Have a group of people around you, have ways of checking in and holding yourself accountable in some way. Motivation, which is great if you have motivation to do something, is fantastic, but it's an emotion. And it's like all emotions, it comes and goes. So you have some sort of real world hooks into maintaining the course even when you don't have motivation for it. That's a sort of a core tool that's used in sort of cognitive behavioural therapy, for example, if you are coming out of anxiety or in particular depression. So one of the things we teach people about coming out of depression is put in activities into your diary and do them whether or not you feel like doing them. So the types of activities that your therapist will advise you will improve your mood, and you do them whether or not you feel like it, because of course it's a sign of depression that you lose motivation for doing things that could actually do you a lot of good. So these are all core principles to help you think about sort of how to develop some realistic goals, how to plan for them, how to give yourself a leg up with a group of people helping you out, and how to keep yourself on track through accountability. Pretty straightforward stuff when it's said like that, isn't it? So why don't you do it? You'll begin to achieve some of these things. And those tips can work, in fact, for any sort of goal setting in your life. If you want to sort of take a more of a coaching approach to your life, then those things will work just fantastically for sort of any sort of goal that you set yourself, whatever that goal is. Thanks for joining me. And again, I'm fully committed this year to making sure that I produce these videos for you on a regular basis. Do let me know what you think, whether it's helpful or not helpful, what sort of subjects you'd like me to cover in the coming year. And I'd like to wish you a great day today. And I'll see you next time. Do leave comments at the bottom of the video wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube or on my website, or indeed email me, info@noelmcdermott.net. Thanks for coming along today, and I'll see you again another time. Bye-bye.